what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Good morning, folks. I am your host, BKP, and you're watching BKP Politics on Voice of Rural America.com. Good morning, Diane. Good morning, America. Good morning to everyone over at Facebook watching, YouTube watching. Mark Zuckerberg had to pay $25 million for taking down Trump's account. We'll get into that. So, welcome one and all this morning. Now, aviation. I have a couple friends that are pilots, former military pilots, couple guys I know, retired Delta pilots. Aviation's something I don't quite understand. I always say a prayer that they know who should land and who should take off in the tower. This is no joke. I really do. Every time I go to an airport and I fly, and thank God I do not fly as often as I used to. Really, I used to more than I would like. But anyhow, I go to the airport. I say a prayer of safety that the person in that tower or people, everything's good, pilot's good, so on and so forth. So it is number 8, the tragedy with the helicopter and the American Airlines and dozens. I don't know if there is a count. This said on CNN this morning, 64 people were on board the American Airlines flight, 3 soldiers on the Army helicopter during the crash. A helicopter went right into this plane at Reagan National Airport there on the Potomac. They are looking for, give me number 9. Apparently, this is the crash site, and they're looking for, hopefully, survivors, a Black Hawk helicopter traveling south along the Potomac River. So, don't know the casualty count. Our prayers are going out to the families and everyone. There's 2 things, and I'm going to move on and get into politics and the Robert F. Kennedy confirmation hearings yesterday, the Lincoln Riley Act, and several things going on in the administration and maybe even around the world. But first, there's 2 things I can rest assured of. One, it's this is not one of the two things, okay? But first of all, a tragedy. I thank God this morning Joe Biden is not president of the United States of America. I thank God this morning that Pete Buttigieg, the gay mayor from South Bend, Indiana, don't start on me. It's too early. He's gay. He got married to Chasten. They had 2 children. He pretended like he gave birth in a hospital room. It was sick. It was disgusting. He took time off. He took his family leave, right? So that being said, thank God Joe Biden is not in the White House and Pete Buttigieg is not the transportation secretary. Here's a statement from Donald J. Trump last night. Video 1, the president of the United States not video 1, number 21. Sorry, Diane. The president put this statement out last night. The airplane was on a perfect and routine line of approach to the airport. The helicopter was going straight into the airplane for an extended period of time. It is a clear night. The lights on the plane were blazing. Why didn't the helicopter go up and down or turn? Why didn't the control tower tell the helicopter what to do instead of asking if they saw the plane? This is a bad situation that looks like it should have been prevented. Not good. We're not waiting on a statement from the White House from Joe Biden. That is pretty clear and direct from the President of the United States. So we will see and find out what happened. That is one thing that I rest assured in this morning is the President of the United States is going to get to the bottom of this. And let's see, where is he at here? I had it just a minute ago. The guy was just sworn in. I thought I had it here. Yeah, give me video 15. Sean Duffy, the new transportation secretary. Give me video 15.
From this point on, no problem.
And Allie too, if she wants to ride.
11 o'clock last night, newly sworn in, just sworn in on the job, Sean Duffy, the transportation secretary. So as I opened up, I'm not going to try to expand the discussion on this tragedy. I listened to it on several networks. I watched several videos on X, but just leave it right there. Aviation and what happened, not my wheelhouse. I really wish that at 12 o'clock today, Rush Limbaugh would be coming on because I'm so sorry about that. Rush Limbaugh would be coming on because aviation, he could talk airplanes. So we pray for all the first responders that are out there trying to rescue. Hopefully it's not a recovery mission yet. Give me number 24, Diane. And I think most of you have watched the video of the plane crash. This is reporting at least 19 dead this morning from the American Airlines plane. 64 were on board. And many of you watched the live video as it took place. And so, again, tragic night. And we pray for those families. Take that down. All right, folks. Trying to look at my screen. Yesterday, the Kennedy confirmation. Now, let me say this. Give me number 4 and then 5. Good morning, Diane. Did I say good morning? Number 4 and 5. Today, Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel. Both confirmation hearings. We'll talk about that in just a moment. That is happening today. RFK will be there for a second day. RFK Jr. Give me number 7. So before we get started this morning, RFK Jr., I was at the event he announced, and I'm pretty sure it was the event, if memory serves me right, that he announced he would be running as an independent, and I'm pretty sure that happened down here in Georgia, Sandy Springs. So on a Sunday afternoon, he is a candidate for president of the United States. He's a candidate for the presidency of the United States. He's coming to Sandy Springs, Georgia, down here outside of Atlanta. And I said, I'm going to drive down. I want to listen to the guy. I want to hear what he has to say. So I go down there, and they set up 200 chairs. Now, if memory serves me right, they set up 200 chairs. And the guy comes out on stage. Every seat, there wasn't an empty seat. Okay, so if they set up 200 chairs, 200 people were in the audience there in Atlanta on the Sunday afternoon. And he was announcing he would be running as an independent. So before it started, I got there about 2 hours early because I wanted to make sure I talked to everybody coming in. And the majority, and I will tell you this, the majority of the 200 people in the room, there were enormous numbers, okay, medical, health, and medical and health freedom and medical freedom was the number one thing I heard through that entire room. The second thing, they were Trump supporters. I walked up to one right after another. I support Donald J. Trump in 2016 and in 2020, but after COVID, I support, all right, personal health freedom, medical freedom, make America healthy again. So, and he gave 45 minutes. He just gave a really great speech that day. And he was very clear and thorough about the deep state. He was very thorough about the deep state and what we had to do to bring down the deep state, medical freedom. And I left there saying, you know what? I'm pro-life. Now, I did not make a decision to vote for him for president, but I'm pro-life, and I like what he's bringing to the table. Then Callie and Casey, I forget their last names, brother and sister, right? Diane, Callie, and Casey. So Tucker Carlson goes, Callie and Casey met with RFK, and Tucker Carlson goes to RFK and said, look, you need to endorse Donald Trump. And RFK said basically he has to meet with Callie and Casey, and then I will meet with him. And if he will sign on to Make America Great Again, and if he will sign on to medical freedom and what we have to do in this country, the pesticides, our food, what we're doing to our children, the drug companies, the list goes on, we'll go from there. So I watched the entire interview. I told you here, I asked you to go to Tucker Carlson, watch Callie and Casey as a brother and sister, right? Amazing doctors. And I am pro-life. This is where I'm going with this. I'll get to the point. There's people out there saying, will you please get to the point? I am pro-life. I am pro-life. I support RFK Jr. for HHS secretary thoroughly and completely. I have watched personally myself, people surrounding me. I've watched children. There's the easiest way to say there's something different. I've looked at, I've experienced children with autism, and no one ever talks about the health of our children. These evil people yesterday that attacked him over and over, there's never anything about the health and welfare of our kids. So that being said, I'm going to get into a lot of video yesterday, but I thoroughly support RFK Jr. I don't care if he was a Democrat. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care RFK and JFK. I don't care about the Kennedys. I don't care. Ted Kennedy is dead. He's a piece of garbage. I don't care. I care about our children, and he has convinced me that his goal is to make America healthy again. HHS Secretary, Health and Human Services. Now, he has been attacked for his pro-choice stance. He has been attacked for being pro-choice. But something I picked up yesterday is he's very clear where Donald Trump stands on abortion. Very clear. And he's very clear that his job as HHS secretary is to carry out the Trump administration's agenda. And they know that. They know that. You bring these people up here. It's like Marco Rubio. I don't know. I know there's a lot of pushback where Marco Rubio is concerned. But the State Department is supposed to carry out the Trump administration's agenda. Every one of them. And he convinced me yesterday that he will carry out the Trump administration agenda. He will not go rogue. He will support President Trump. I want to remind you of something before we go on with this candidate. This is the former 32. You take some time and look this up, okay? This is Javier Becerra. Javier Becerra was the Health and Human Services, HHS Secretary for Joe Biden. Zero experience. Medical, anything. Zero experience. None. Just would work well with the pharmaceutical industry and the NGOs. Zero. You never heard anything about this guy for 4 years, really. But guess what? He became HHS secretary with a vote. A vote. Number 34. So Biden got his HHS secretary with this vote right here. Just remind you right now, Susan Collins. Susan Collins. That's how he got his vote. Now, number 33. This was the assistant HHS secretary. Okay? This was the assistant HHS secretary. I just want some clarification for some of this stuff. Now, Richard here, who thought or goes through life, I wonder what he thinks now, knowing Donald Trump has cleared up his gender. Okay? But this is the former HHS secretary. Now, we're going to listen to Raphael Warnock say he can't vote. He claims to be a reverend, Raphael Warnock. He is a devil's helper, demonic man in a pulpit. Get the hell out of that church today. And do not call him Reverend Raphael Warnock. Probably shouldn't have went there. But this is a man. Raphael Warnock can't vote for RFK because he said he referred to CDC as Nazis. Now, I want to remind you, Assistant HHS Secretary. There are a large number of executive orders that President Donald Trump has signed. 2 genders. He was pushing something else in your schools. 2 genders, right? Hormone therapy, transitioning. You think of all the executive orders that Donald Trump has signed this week. Give me number 13, Diane. Here's an executive order. Ending radical indoctrination in K through 12 schooling. Executive order signed January 29th, 2025. Now, could you go back to Richard, number 33? This was the assistant HHS secretary. This is the assistant HHS secretary that if, no pun intended, we dodged a bullet. Donald Trump's not the only one in America that dodged a bullet. If Kamala Harris would have been elected, transitioning your children. This person right here wanted to start your children on hormone therapy at 12 years old and wanted to make it universal across every school in America. That's right. So every time you sit there and you see RFK Jr. and these crazy people, they are crazy. We do have a mental health crisis in America. It's called Democrats. We do. a serious mental health crisis, and thank God Donald Trump is trying to correct it immediately. Now, let me remind you one more thing, because I want to remind you of this before we go any further with RFK Jr. Now, this individual was confirmed by who? 2 votes this time, number 34. Susan Collins, 34. And number 35, Lisa Murkowski. Go look up the vote. These are the 2 votes. Just stop and think about it. Now, these Democrats yesterday, they act as though they're concerned about Medicaid. They act as though they're concerned about programs that benefit the poor. Unless they act like they're concerned about polio. They act like they're concerned about tuberculosis and other diseases in this country. Unless 35 million, maybe, cross the border, unvaccinated, cross the border, you put their children in schools. I keep hearing every day, take that down. I can't stand the sight of any of these. Give me, go ahead. Go and look. They put these kids in school. The teachers' unions across America have put together a plan to train you how to avoid ICE and not work with ICE when they come to the school. Yes, a plan. Stay away from ICE and to avoid them and avoid the law. Do you know how many children you put in school over the past several years with no vaccination record? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, they may say, oh, that's not true, but oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. You take a kid to school, you will have that vaccination record right there before that kid goes to school. You take an illegal 5-year-old to school, nobody speaks English, that kid will be in school before the end of the day. And then what they'll do is they'll send them over to where? They'll send that kid over to your health department that you pay the taxes for, and they'll deem that kid indigent over at your health department. And they will give those kids all the shots and everything they need while you pay for it. And they're in school. The evil lurks among us. And thank God Donald Trump is highlighting this on a daily basis without fear of them. That's why I have no fear of them. If Donald Trump can have no fear of them, so will I. Now, before I want to get into the RFK, let me go with this. Number 2, Bob Menendez got 11 years in prison. Got 11 years in prison. We're going to talk about the Federal Reserve. They would not cut the interest rate. I want to talk about that a little later in the show. But Donald Trump, number 37, signed the Lincoln Riley Act yesterday, and with her parents there. Thank God for, and I want to give a special shout out today. Trump signs the Lincoln Riley Act into law. Number 20, Mike Collins. I want to give a special shout out, America. Why don't you say thank you to the congressman from the 10th District of Georgia, Mike Collins. He is the guy on the far next to the guy with the red tie. You got the gray hair like mine. Got it going on there. Mike Collins, Congressman Mike Collins from the 10th District. That Lincoln Riley, that was in his district. He sponsored the Lincoln Riley Act. And want to say how much we appreciate him. Buddy Carter from Georgia is in the red tie. Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones is pretty much center right there. Blue shirt right there. Then next to him is Brian Jacks. Is it Brian Jack or Jacks? I got to look that up. Brian Jack, I think it is. Brian Jack. The new congressman from the 3rd District of Georgia. Next, the thumbs up, always thumbs up. That's the 9th District Congressman Andrew Clyde. And Georgia Speaker of the House, John Burns, needed some photo ops up there. And that's John Burns. I don't know where Brandon Beach is. I heard he was going, State Senator Brandon Beach. But those are several from Georgia that were up there yesterday. But the Lincoln Riley Act, God bless Donald Trump for signing that yesterday. Now, trying to think if I want to go into immigration. I got a lot on RFK. Go ahead and give me 36, Diane. Did I say good morning, Diane? If I did. Now, as we are horror in the sky, airline, jet, and Black Hawk chopper, deadly crash. That's the New York Post. Go ahead and take that down. Let me remind you of something. Here's what we're going to do. We'll take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to go into the crisis on the border, and then we'll go into RFK because there's some things I want to highlight. But as we go to break, don't forget, with Kash Patel coming up today, Tulsi Gabbard coming up today, all right? Give me number 41. Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, with RFK's confirmation here, with us trying to get votes. Don't forget the 4 Senate seats that were stolen on election month 2025. Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada, and Arizona. We should have 4 more Republican senators. And Donald Trump has told you, right? Donald Trump has told you that Democrats are really good at what? Cheating and rigging elections. So don't forget, we lost 4 Senate seats that were stolen in the last election. So every time you talk about, hey, Donald Trump won, keep in mind, every time we're having to worry about Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, the Senate seats that were stolen from us. All right, take a break. We'll be right back. Good morning. Good morning. Glad to have you. Bob Menendez doing 11 years. Gold Bar Bob from New Jersey. And when we come back, where is Elon Musk resting his head these days? Take a break.
Chevrolet Jasper is North Georgia's business elite commercial truck giant. Box trucks, landscape trucks, flatbed and heavy hauling trucks. When you've got a job to do, we've got the commercial truck for you. And get a federal tax credit up to 100% of the purchase price. Hundreds of commercial trucks are all right here at Days Chevrolet Jasper. Together, let's drive.
Larry's Body Shop in Ellijay. Family owned and operated since 1978. The latest in cutting edge digital technology and state of the art equipment allow our iCard Gold Class certified technicians to restore your vehicle. Our second to none customer service will work directly with your insurance company. Major accident or minor fender bender, we take the dents out of accidents. Larry's Body Shop, North Georgia's #1 body shop. Visit us at collisiondecision.com.
Why give your money to liberal media companies? Put your marketing needs in the hands of a conservative marketing professional and start getting results today. FYN Media Group, one of the top digital marketing agencies in Georgia, specializes in website design and hosting, social media promotion and management, and so much more. Visit FYNmediagroup.com or call 706-889-3564 for a free consultation.
Ladies, when you wear elegant jewelry, you become a force to be reckoned with. You shine brighter than the stars in the sky, and your inner beauty radiates like the sun. So embrace the magic, embrace the elegance, and let your jewelry be a reflection of your true, authentic self. My friends over at North Georgia Diamond know what a woman wants. Go see them for the perfect gift. And remember, when it comes to elegance, there's no such thing as too much. Come see us at North Georgia Diamond. We're igniting passion one sparkle at a time.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
This is a special report.
Knowing how to invest your money is harder than ever before. Dealing with stock market volatility, record debt, and terrorist attacks requires new thinking. At U.S. Asset Management, we can help you see the world more clearly so that you can move beyond the chaos and invest with confidence. Call us, visit us online, or drop by our office. U.S. Asset Management, helping you make better decisions with your money.
Mesquite Grill, now offering online ordering for your convenience. Check out our new website at mesquitegrillbr.com. That's mesquitegrillbr.com. The great food and service you have come to expect, ready for you when you arrive. Open 7 days a week with a fully stocked bar and friendly service. Bring your furry friends with you and dine on our pet-friendly patio. Also, check out our catering options and let us prepare delicious food for your next event.
Okay, good morning. We are back Yes, we are back. I think Diane's here. I think that's who's working that other side when I call for the pictures. I'm your host, BKP, and you're watching BKP Politics on voiceofruralamerica.com. Now, Diane, the other day I noticed on social media that you have an event coming up. And why don't you tell me about it? I see it on social media. Truth in Education with Rhonda Thomas. If you can get that graphic, I want to promote that. I've always, for years, I've promoted Truth in Education with Rhonda Thomas, a dear friend of the show. They keep up. Hey, when I say my number one thing, it's our children. It's our children, and I've watched what they've done to the parents in the school. So Diane knows how I am about that. So whenever you get it, just let me know. I want to put it on the screen. I want to promote the Truth in Education event. I think you have her coming over to speak, Rhonda Thomas. So that being said, we're going to get right into. I was thinking the other day. Okay, so I'm listening to the deportation, and everybody getting upset. Well, not everybody. Let me retract that. I don't know where I'm going with that. Many getting upset. Oh, they're going into this area. They're going into that area. They're going into schools. They're going into churches. They're going to do this. And I want them to get the dangerous. I want them to bring, if they could possibly do it, the most dangerous ones out of this country. So give me number 19, Diane. This is 19. Just a couple graphics before. This is from the New York Post. Get on and get. Trump will send up to 30,000 illegal immigrants to Guantanamo Bay. Tough place to get out of. So the other day I was thinking about this. Give me 25. And then we want 26, Diane. So the other day I have right here, number 25, the killers, child predators, the Tres de Agua thugs heading home as Trump raids up to 7,500 illegals in just 9 days. Now, number 26, here is a group picture of many that they rounded up. The picture of 10, all right, alien criminals arrested by ICE on Tuesday. In total, ICE caught 1,016 illegal migrants that day alone. Their charges include child pornography, child solicitation, child abuse, attempted murder, negligent homicide, drug distribution, aggravated assault, and more. In the lot was a deadly MS-13 cartel member and several other gang members and predators. So they're coming out of sanctuary cities, Chicago, New Orleans, San Diego, and elsewhere. Now, the point is, I've been looking at this. I'm thinking, we're going to send these people across the border and they're going to attempt to come back. How do we prevent the worst of the worst? Now, whether you want to talk about it or not, one of the ways that these gangs send messages is to dismember their victim. So they wanted to send a message. The cartels wanted to send a message, gangs. And in North Georgia, they took a young lady, Rosa, young Hispanic lady, I think from over around Gainesville or Tacoma, anyway, brought her and dismembered her. I don't want to go into any more graphics. Dismember to send a message. These are evil people, disgusting, evil, demonic murderers. And I was thinking, we just send them back to their country. When are they coming back? So number 27 yesterday, and I'm okay with this. Number 27, Trump unveils a plan to send 30,000 of the worst to Guantanamo and get them out of here. And they're not coming back. So I'm thinking, when I heard this announcement, I'm like, why is he doing this? So Trump Gitmo video 6.
Today, I'm also signing an executive order to instruct the Departments of Defense and Homeland Security to begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay. Most people don't even know about it. We have 30,000 beds in Guantanamo to detain the worst criminal illegal aliens threatening the American people. Some of them are so bad we don't even trust the countries to hold them because we don't want them coming back, so we're going to send them out to Guantanamo.
We don't even trust the governments to hold them, so we're going to send them out to Guantanamo. All right, okay, 30,000? Listen, I want the drug stopped. I mean, this guy, opiate addiction, I always say to myself, don't get stuck somewhere. I could take you through little towns, and I love these places. Little towns through Ohio, little towns through West Virginia. Sad, really sad. Little towns through West Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky, Georgia. I could take you through these little towns in Tennessee. And the towns are just eat up with a drug crisis. Opiates, fentanyl, drugs. Destroyed, entire towns destroyed in this country. And, cleaning this out, I always go back. I won't do that. So, hey, you're going to put them in Gitmo? I can go with that. Give me number 18. This is, I want to show you this before I go to the next one as I'm talking about illegal immigration. This is a video yesterday. This is the Border Patrol deporting criminal illegal aliens back to Mexico from Texas. This is a bridge that connects Mexico and Texas together. Give me, had here just a minute ago. Let's see. Yeah, give me video 12. Out of here. Number 3, Trump directs Pentagon and DHS to prepare migrant housing for Guantanamo Bay. All right, let me see if I have this here. I thought I had... wait a minute. Let's see. I thought I had one with Pete Hegseth, but I don't. Now, the money yesterday that they were going to freeze. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. They retracted that memo. But it caused everyone to start bouncing off the walls. It exposed every single focus we need to have, laser focus that we need to have, and what agencies out there that we have to focus on in taking the money. They've been stealing trillions of dollars. HHS secretary, new on the job. Now, I'm going to give Kristi Noem a chance. Governor of South Dakota, I'm going to give her a chance to do the job that the president told her he wants done on the very first day. You could call it a stunt, whatever you want, but not Mayor Orcus. Kristi Noem, former governor of South Dakota, now Homeland Security, Secretary of Homeland Security, was in New York City, full gear, helping and assisting with deportations in New York City with ICE. And this one, I really like this one right here. Here is Homeland Security. Now, Mayor Orcus, you got to think, it's not even a month ago. They've been stealing from us the money, these NGOs, video. I want an investigation. When Pam Bondi is confirmed, I want a full investigation into all these NGOs. I want to open their books. I want to get the money trail and how it got back to possibly Mayor Orcus and friends. Video 2, Kristi Noem.
So now let's turn back to the border quickly. Now joining me is the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who has an exclusive announcement on more action her department is taking. Secretary, thanks for being with us here today. I understand you have something to share with us that we haven't heard yet about what you're going to be doing at DHS.
Yes, well, thank you, Will, for inviting me to be with you. Today, we are announcing that we have stopped all grant funding that's being abused by NGOs to facilitate illegal immigration into this country. So it's amazing to me the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been spent by the federal government that has been sent to NGOs to facilitate this invasion of our country. So I've taken action to stop those funds, to reevaluate them, and to make sure that we're actually using the taxpayer dollars in a way that strengthens this country, that keeps us safe. So I think people are curious when we look at grants that are given out by federal agencies at how they're utilized, and that evaluation needs to be done. We're not spending another dime to help the destruction of this country. We're going to make sure that we follow through on what President Trump has promised, and that's to make sure that we're securing our border, departing those who are here illegally, and committing criminal actions, and that our taxpayer dollars aren't spent to help it.
So if I'm making a list, what do I have to do first? First things first. I got to stop the money. I have to stop the money. Now, I know firsthand the NGOs down in Atlanta that were facilitating the flights. Remember, State Senator Colton Moore went to the Atlanta airport, videoed the NGOs, videoed the people coming in, and we had flights all across this country, and every time one of these planes landed and the illegals got off, and they go through the airport, they go through, you and I have to go through all of this screening to get on a plane, off a plane. You had to go through all kinds of screening, your ID. You can't fly in this country without a barcode. You can't fly in the United States of America without handing your driver's license and it going in a machine and a barcode is scanned. And they know where you're at, where you're going, and they know right then who you are. But God forbid in California you ask for that ID to vote. But you can't get on a plane. They have to secure your flight, not the vote. They don't secure the vote. They secure your flight is what they're telling you. But they put these people on planes. No documentation whatsoever. Flew them around the country. But everywhere they landed, there was an NGO, a non-governmental organization that receiving hundreds of millions of dollars to facilitate an invasion on our country. We have been paying to have our country invaded. These Democrats have been involved in the invasion. They're part of it. They should be in Gitmo. But the first things first is to stop this NGO money. Stop it in its tracks. I mean, and trust me, the word gets over on the other side. Oh, wait a minute. This morning, when we get there, we don't get credit card. No credit card. We get there, we don't get free motel in Chicago. No. We get there, we don't get, clothes and no. They shut it down. Who? Trump shut it down. On the other side of the border, they were yelling, Biden. I don't want to tell you what they're saying over there. But NGOs, I loved it. One more with Kristi Noem, and we'll get out of that because I want to get to RFK in just a minute. I want to get to RFK and some of the things that were said yesterday. Now, and the military, some of these things that are turning around immediately. Let's see. Give me, where's it at? Give me video 16. Mayor Orcas should be in prison. Video 16.
In the Department of Homeland Security, Secretary Mayorkas put in place an 18-month extension of the temporary protective status. I rolled that back. I rolled it back to the 6 months that it always has been, and he really put that in place to tie my hands, my ability to keep integrity into this program. So this program has been in place for years. We're going to make sure that it's used properly, and that's the president's heart and desire as well. So when the president gives a directive, the Department of Homeland Security will follow it, and we're going to make sure that those who come in under a program, under a visa, and are here in this country, that they're following the rules of that program. That's been abused over the years, and it needs to be fixed. To those folks who are in violation of these programs, they need to recognize that they're accountable to that. They agreed to follow the rules when they came, and that they need to be held accountable when they don't follow them.
Venezuelan protective status. Mayor Orcas did that on purpose before he left. They tried everything, but now the rolling back the memo. Well, I'll talk about that on the next break. I'm up to 9 o'clock. I do want to put this up right here. Where's Elon Musk staying these days? Where's Elon Musk sleeping these days? Give me number 29. Number 29, Elon Musk. Trump offers Elon Musk the Lincoln bedroom at the White House as first buddy turns Doge office into his personal sleeping quarters to lead government purge. So he is identifying things over there in Doge, and he's working away at Doge. Department of Government Efficiency. Now, the building in the back, that is the executive branch office building. And that is on the grounds of the White House. So the executive branch has its own office building over there. There's only so many offices down on the West Wing, but the executive branch, the staff works in that office building. Doge was given so many offices in that building, and he has turned one of them into a bedroom there. So he is staying, for the most part, on the White House grounds in the office building. And Trump said, why don't you just stay in the Lincoln bedroom? There you go. So Elon may be moving in the White House down the hall. Just saying. Interesting. Now, one more here. Let me get to this one. This is like a traffic ticket, number 31. This is equivalent to a traffic ticket for this guy. But in reality, it is something. Meta to pay Trump $25 million settlement for shutting his accounts after January 6th. President Trump on Wednesday settled a lawsuit that would require Meta to pay about $25 million, most of which will fund the president's library. Okay. Multiple outlets reported. So it's more or less Mark Zuckerberg making a donation to the presidential library is what it is. And that's the settlement for him taking down and asking for forgiveness for taking down Trump's accounts on January 6th. Now, just saying, Mark Zuckerberg getting awful friendly. I have one more I want to, before I go into the RFK. I always say the JFK, the RFK. And I have several things for the Georgia Hour. Let's go here. Number 13. I absolutely, 11. Go 11 and then 12. And then we'll go 13 and 14. We'll try the in order. All right. Diane, I didn't get the Valentine's Day graphic put in this morning. I didn't think about it if you have one, because I want to do that in Truth of Education before we go to break. Number 11, Trump issues orders on K-12 indoctrination, school choice, and campus protest. Excuse me. Number 12. This is an executive order that happened yesterday. Trump's executive order on ending radical indoctrination of K-12 schooling seeks to block federal funding for schools that include what the administration describes as gender ideology and critical race theory in the classroom. This is big. We have to take back our schools. We have to get Board of Education that understands that from the people, the parents. We must clean out the Board of Education in your local county or however it works where you're at. And we must get people in place that understand that the indoctrination of our children will not continue. It will not. So go ahead and bring in number 13, ending radical indoctrination. Now, this is the executive order from the President of the United States. This is from the White House on January 20th, just yesterday. Number 14, by the authority vested in me, as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States, it's hereby ordered. Section 1, purpose and policy. Parents trust America's schools to provide their children with rigorous education and to instill patriotic admiration for our incredible nation and the values for which we stand. In recent years, however, parents have witnessed schools indoctrinating their children in radical anti-American ideologies. We're deliberately blocking parents' oversight. See, that's big. This is the president of the United States signed this. Deliberately blocking parental oversight. Here's your chance. Do you not realize this is your chance? If you're out there in America and you're a mom and you're a dad and you just seem like you're fighting an uphill battle and who's behind you and is anyone going to support you? Here's your chance. The president of the United States understands that they've been deliberately trying to block parental oversight. Such an environment operates as an echo chamber in which students are forced to accept these ideologies without question or critical examination. In many cases, this is in the executive order. Okay, this is not New York Times. This is not, some publication, some spin out there. This is the executive order from the White House that has Donald J. Trump's signature on it. Ideologies without question or critical examination. In many cases, innocent children are compelled to adopt identities as either victims or oppressors solely based on their skin color and other immutable characteristics. In other instances, young men and women are made to question whether they were born in the wrong body and whether to view their parents and in their reality as enemies to be blamed. Bam! Right there you have it. We have set up a system that we have to take down, the school system that allows for children their freedom of expression. Maybe you were born in the wrong body. No, you weren't. These practices are not only arid critical thinking, not only erode, these practices not only erode, critical thinking, but also sow division, confusion, and distrust, which undermine the very foundations of personal identity and family unity. And you can't beat these executive orders. Stop the funding. Now, what you need to do is take these executive orders to your state and ask your state what they plan to do in stopping what's happening in your school system, what's happening to your children. It's amazing to me. I love that executive order. Let's see. I have a couple more Trump clips. We're going to do those afterwards. It's 9:07. Diane, go ahead. Do you have the Valentine's Day one? Don't forget, folks, you can join us on Valentine's Day or the Valentine dinner on February 8th. Well, that's just around the corner. That's next week, right? That's next Saturday night. Wow. Just like that, it's here. Then Truth in Education. Diane, put that graphic up. Truth in Education, February 15th, 9 a.m., down there. And is that in Gilmer? The Gilmer American Legion, February 15th at 9 a.m. Truth in Education with Rhonda Thomas. So, and that is at the American Legion in Gilmer County, February 15th at 9 a.m. Truth in Education with Rhonda Thomas. Just an amazing person, great organization, and they fight. That's the only way I know how to put it. They fight for our children, to protect our children. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back, Talk about RFK. I have to get there. Mark Milley, I have one on there. If you're not at work by January 6th or February 6th, you're going to get fired. We got a lot to cover. Then we have the Georgia Hour. Take a break.
Kicking off the new year in a big way at Days Chevrolet Jasper with 2.9% financing on the all-new 2025 Chevy Equinox, plus $1,500 in Days discounts and no payments for 90 days. So keep that New Year's resolution and take on the all-new 2025 Equinox from Days Chevrolet Jasper. Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done. Together, let's drive.
Body Shop in Ellijay. Family owned and operated since 1978. The latest in cutting-edge digital technology and state-of-the-art equipment allow our iCard Gold Class certified technicians to restore your vehicle. Our second-to-none customer service will work directly with your insurance company. Major accident or minor fender bender. We take the dents out of accidents. Larry's Body Shop, North Georgia's #1 body shop. Visit us at collisiondecision.com.
Why give your money to liberal media companies? Put your marketing needs in the hands of a conservative marketing professional and start getting results today. FYN Media Group, one of the top digital marketing agencies in Georgia, specializes in website design and hosting, social media promotion and management, and so much more. Visit FYNmediagroup.com or call 706-889-3564 for a free consultation.
Ladies, when you wear elegant jewelry, you become a force to be reckoned with. You shine brighter than the stars in the sky, and your inner beauty radiates like the sun. So embrace the magic, embrace the elegance, and let your jewelry be a reflection of your true, authentic self. My friends over at North Georgia Diamond know what a woman wants. Go see them for the perfect gift. And remember, when it comes to elegance, there's no such thing as too much. Come see us at North Georgia Diamond. We're igniting passion one sparkle at a time.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
This is a special report.
Knowing how to invest your money is harder than ever before. Dealing with stock market volatility, record debt, and terrorist attacks requires new thinking. At U.S. Asset Management, we can help you see the world more clearly so that you can move beyond the chaos and invest with confidence. Call us, visit us online, or drop by our office. U.S. Asset Management, helping you make better decisions with your money.
Mesquite Grill, now offering online ordering for your convenience. Check out our new website at mesquitegrillbr.com. That's mesquitegrillbr.com. The great food and service you have come to expect, ready for you when you arrive. Open 7 days a week with a fully stocked bar and friendly service. Bring your furry friends with you and dine on our pet-friendly patio. Also, check out our catering options and let us prepare delicious food for your next event.
All right, folks, we are back. I'm your host, BKP, and you're watching BKP Politics on voiceofruralamerica.com. voiceofruralamerica.com. Thank you for being here with us. Now, at 10 o'clock, we'll have the Georgia Hour. We got several things to go over there concerning Georgia. Diane, I sent you a video, and I forgot to put it in the list this morning. So if you could get that for me, and I appreciate it before we get to RFK. Now, Pete Hegseth talking about Mark Milley yesterday. I don't know if you missed this, but I want to run it. I want to run video 3. This is the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, talking about Mark Milley and the decision to investigate, possibly demote, and remove his security clearance. Video 3.
I want to ask you about General Mark Milley. His photo, his portrait was taken down at the Pentagon. He has, I think there's currently a commission being put together to explore whether or not he should be demoted. His security clearances have been taken away. Tell me the thought process, both there at the Pentagon, at the White House, with Mark Milley.
Accountability is back, Will. It's the understanding that if you actively undermined the chain of command, as General Milley did under the previous Trump administration, we are going to review those actions administratively inside the Defense Department. Mark Milley got a pardon. That's something President Biden was in his purview to do. Just like in our purview at the Defense Department, we have the opportunity to review things he may have done inside the chain of command while President Trump was president that undermined those authorities. So security clearance in the interim is revoked. There will be a review of the rank he will retain upon retirement, and he'll have that process. But this is a demonstration that inside President Trump's Defense Department, we're going to hold not just junior levels or the highest levels possible accountable for actions, and that's what the signal this is meant to send.
Trump was commander-in-chief, folks, and let me tell you something. I had an encounter with a young man in the military. Several. I know this young man. He is in Japan now. He got sent to Japan, and I knew all along that the young man had no use for Joe Biden. You could just tell in his body language he wasn't on board with the Biden administration. But I have to tell you, in the conversations that I had with this young man, Biden was commander-in-chief. He was very cautious in what he said. Biden's commander-in-chief. So anyhow, now DEI, Department of Transportation. Why am I saying Department of Transportation? I got too many departments going on in one day. Pete Hegseth, Department of Defense, colorblind, and the DEI, video 13.
And I think President Trump said it perfect in his inaugural address, which is what we're reinforcing in our directive as well. DOD will be colorblind and merit-based. Colorblind as it has been and merit-based as it should be, because as you know better than anybody, DEI sends the opposite signals. It's picking winners and losers. It's pitting people against each other based on their color, their background, or their gender. The Defense Department is in the business of fighting and winning wars, the highest of possible stakes. We want the best people, regardless of backgrounds, competing for those positions, ready to fight, accountable to their senior leaders. DEI does not do that. Not only does it not do it, it undermines it. So everyone's going to be treated equally based on merit, and we're making sure across the Army and the Navy and the Marine Corps and the Space Force, that's happening. There's no hedging here, Will. We're not joking around. There's no changing of names or softly manipulating something. DEI is gone. We're ripping it out root and branch, and we're getting back to the basics with high standards. And guess what? The force is responding because that's what they want. They want to be warfighters.
Within the second week, Thursday, within the second week, NGO funding pulled for these people that are we're financing the invasion, removing criminals from this country, protecting our children, K through 12, only boys and girls, 2 genders, no more transgenders in the military. We're not going to pay for you to transition while you're in prison. And, oh, by the way, you got to go back to the prison where your biological gender. List goes on. And I am fully supporting it. Now, I understand today, here you got 4, don't forget, Tulsi Gabbard is today. And don't get you can get on YouTube, and there's several live feeds. So you can catch these in the afternoon. That's what I do. I put them on in the afternoon and catch up to them. Kash Patel, number 5, is also FBI director, is also going to be today, start at any time. I understand he is going to lay out the plan for them on how to restore trust in the FBI, for restoring trust in the FBI. He will be also today. Now, let me answer this briefly. Number 5 is Kash Patel. Christopher Wray resigned. The FBI falls under the direction of the executive branch, the president's office. So Donald Trump did have the authority to say, look, Christopher Wray, go ahead and resign or I'm going to fire you anyway. And so Christopher Wray resigned. Now, move over to number 15. I just want to put this out here so you can keep an eye on this. This is something you'll want to keep an eye on the back burner. Jerome Powell refused to cut the interest rate yesterday. Fed holds interest rates steady, defying pressure from Trump. Okay. Fed pauses interest rate cuts as inflation, Trump plans create uncertainty. Now, we have to watch this, and I'll tell you why. Because, see, there was a plan to put another interest rate cut in effect at the meeting, is it yesterday? But the Fed is claiming there's uncertainty in Trump's economic plans. So they're going to hold for right now. Remember when, what's her name, told us, Janet Yellen, that inflation was transitory? Remember transitory? And they come out with all the charts and graphs, how, you know, things were headed in the right direction. This guy here said they're going to pause interest rate cuts. Now, one thing you have to be perfectly clear on. There is nothing federal about the Federal Reserve. We need to audit the Fed. There's nothing federal about the Federal Reserve. That's where we borrow money. When you say we're 30-some trillion dollars in debt and we have debt, that's where we borrow the money, is the Federal Reserve. And nothing federal about it. So when he says, I won't resign, now they can crash an economy. They can do it. They can do it on purpose. So keep an eye on Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve and the upcoming battle that will be taking place very soon over there. Just a quick reminder, number 16, Kash Patel. Let me get that up there. This is Catherine Herridge. Kash Patel broke open the 2016 election FISA abuse scandal. Don't forget that. In fact, if you're on Twitter, I recommend following her. She does amazing work, a lot of great stuff to keep up with. So let me make sure I don't have anything else on this plate. I have that. All right, you have to go back to work. February 6th, you have to go back to work. If you don't go back to work, now what you can do is you can resign, okay? You can absolutely resign if you're a federal worker. Trump signed an executive order saying no more remote working at home. You have to go back. And he said, if you want to resign, use your government email and just type in the title block or whatever it's called there, resign. Type resign in the block and send it. And if you do, we'll give you a nice severance package and you're gone. So there's several that are protesting, no, we're not going to do that, and we're not coming back to work. Trump said, if you don't do that, you're going to be fired. Let me see something here, Diane. I think, trying to figure out if this is the one I want. Give me number 28. Can you find 28 for me there? It's just a little clip out of an article. It said the last day to accept the offer is February 6th, and employees could simply send an email from their government account with the word resign. That's all you got to do. If not, well, let's see. What did Trump say? If you don't do that, you're what? Video 9.
We have informed the federal workforce, which they've looked to do for many years, that if they're working for the federal government, they must show up to the office on time and on schedule. We don't want them. We don't want them to work from home because, as everyone knows, most of the time they're not working, they're not very productive, and it's unfair to the millions of people in the United States who are in fact working hard from job sites and not from their home. As federal employees, they must meet a high standard. They're representing our government, they're representing our country. If they don't agree by February 6th to show up back to work in their office, they will be terminated, and we will therefore be downscaling our government, which is something that the last 10 presidents have tried very hard to do but failed. Most of the people we're talking about have not been going to their federal offices in many, many years, from even before COVID. But they have nevertheless been paid. Some have worked, some haven't worked, and most of the studies say that some have just gone through the motions. We may ask these people to prove that they didn't have another job during their so-called employment with the United States of America, because if they did, that would be unlawful. As you understand, a lot of people are getting paychecks, but they're actually working other jobs, so they'll have to prove that to us that they weren't. In any event, we're requiring them to show up to work or be terminated. We think a very substantial number of people will not show up to work, and therefore our government will get smaller and more efficient, and that's what we've been looking to do for many, many decades, frankly.
Get your lazy ass back to work. They're not working. They're not productive. Many have other jobs. I mean, you and I have to go to work. We have to get up in the morning and go to work. We have to do our job. If we don't do our job, we have to answer for it. Bottom line. These people are not working. These buildings are empty, and you are sending them. There was a major freak out yesterday because the sheriff, Donald Trump, wanted to freeze the bank robbers in our treasury in their tracks. He said, freeze. Right? Freeze. Right there. Don't take another step. Number 6. Trump administration rescinds order attempting to freeze federal aid and spending. The sheriff caught him stealing. We know that right at the end of Biden's administration, they did everything they could. They went through every single budget. Everywhere there was some money left hiding, they pushed it out the door for these NGOs and these people to get grants just to steal the money. And it freaked everybody out. If you think Trump rescinded this and he's going to stop, no, he's not going to. But on the federal employees, you're going to go back to work. Many of them have other jobs. Do you know how many are signing in their computer? Hold on. Let me sign in my computer. That's all I got to do is once I'm signed in the computer, it shows up. And then on Thursday, I send in a log sheet that just says in and out, and I'm good. So I'm on the computer about 3 hours a week, if that much. 2 hours a week, whatever. I own a little business in town. I work over here. I've got a side business. Trump's going to make them prove they receive no other income. And if you're not to work, if you're not back to work, February 6th, if you're not back to work on that day, you will be fired. That will be your last day of work if you don't show up. Laken Riley, I want to revisit that. Yesterday, the Laken Riley Act, a Venezuelan, remember, now, a Venezuelan that was not held because of the lack of room, right? This is a criminal here illegally, was not held due to the lack of room, and he killed Laken Riley, this young lady over in Athens, Clark County at UGA in Georgia, jogging one morning. Terrible. 22 years old? Beautiful young lady. Yesterday, the Laken Riley Act was signed. We got our Georgia delegation. Here's number 20. We already talked about that's Congressman Mike Collins from the 10th District. Thank you there. yesterday in the room. It's reported he got very emotional. Where do I have that? I had it here just a minute ago, Diane. It's understood John Fetterman got very emotional yesterday during the signing. There it is, number 10. And he got very emotional because Laken Riley's mom, John Fetterman, is overcome with emotion as Trump details Laken Riley's brutal murder by a legal migrant as the bill is signed. Can you roll? This is Laken Riley's mother yesterday at the signing of the bill, the namesake, her daughter that was murdered. Can you roll that video, Diane?
We also want to thank President Trump for the promises he made to us. He said he would secure our borders and that he would never forget about Laken. And he hasn't. He's a man of his word. We trust that he will fight for the American people. Most importantly, I want to thank our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because without his sacrifices, Laken's story would have ended on that horrific day that she was taken from us. But because of him, we can continue living knowing that we will see Laken again.
Get them out of here. Get them out of here. Clean these rat holes, these rat-infested, killing our kids. Get them out of here. Thank you, Mr. President. Are we going to come back? We do have to, before we get into the Georgia hour, I'm going to try to hit it right at 10 o'clock. We have to go over RFK Jr. yesterday, confirmation. We got to play several videos on that from yesterday. Diane, give us a couple commercials from our sponsors, and we'll see you right after these messages.
Kicking off the new year in a big way at Days Chevrolet Jasper with 2.9% financing on the all-new 2025 Chevy Equinox, plus $1,500 in days discounts and no payments for 90 days. So keep that New Year's resolution and take on the all-new 2025 Equinox from Days Chevrolet Jasper. Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done. Together, let's drive.
Body Shop in Ellijay. Family owned and operated since 1978. The latest in cutting-edge digital technology and state-of-the-art equipment allow our iCard Gold Class certified technicians to restore your vehicle. Our second-to-none customer service will work directly with your insurance company. Major accident or minor fender bender. We take the dents out of accidents. Larry's Body Shop, North Georgia's #1 body shop. Visit us at collisiondecision.com.
Why give your money to liberal media companies? Put your marketing needs in the hands of a conservative marketing professional and start getting results today. FYN Media Group, one of the top digital marketing agencies in Georgia, specializes in website design and hosting, social media promotion and management, and so much more. Visit FYNmediagroup.com or call 706-889-3564 for a free consultation.
Ladies, when you wear elegant jewelry, you become a force to be reckoned with. You shine brighter than the stars in the sky, and your inner beauty radiates like the sun. So embrace the magic, embrace the elegance, and let your jewelry be a reflection of your true, authentic self. My friends over at North Georgia Diamond know what a woman wants. Go see them for the perfect gift. And remember, when it comes to elegance, There's no such thing as too much. Come see us at North Georgia Diamond. We're igniting passion one sparkle at a time.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
This is a special report.
Knowing how to invest your money is harder than ever before. Dealing with stock market volatility, record debt, and terrorist attacks requires new thinking. At U.S. Asset Management, we can help you see the world more clearly so that you can move beyond the chaos and invest with confidence. Call us, visit us online, or drop by our office. U.S. Asset Management, helping you make better decisions with your money.
Mesquite Grill, now offering online ordering for your convenience. Check out our new website at mesquitegrillbr.com. That's mesquitegrillbr.com. The great food and service you have come to expect, ready for you when you arrive. Open 7 days a week with a fully stocked bar and friendly service. Bring your furry friends with you and dine on our pet-friendly patio. Also, check out our catering options and let us prepare delicious food for your next event.
You know, Diane, I'm thinking about changing something up. I'm thinking about BKP Politics. Now, I want to keep the name Politics. I don't want to change the name. But maybe we could put something like the word on the street with BKP. What's the word on the street with BKP? I'm being told that's what the kids say on the street. What they're saying on the street. No one. Well, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, could be up to 4. But the damage is done over at CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS. The damage is done over with. The focus, I understand there has been, and thank you out there. I got a dozen messages. Are you going to apply for White House credentials? Thank you. I appreciate, that you think we ought to go do that. But I understand up to 7,500 requests. I think like Alex Jones is going. Could you see Alex Jones on the front row of the White House press secretary's briefing, sitting next to CNN or ABC or CBS? Could you see that? In fact, I want to see that. I want to see Alex Jones right on the front seat, and I want his gravelly voice asking a question. Yeah, Alex, you're next? Yes. Why did the water turn the frogs gay? I want to know it. I want Alex right on the front seat. But anyhow, I gotta get focused here. But I've worked so many events, political events, where I show up with my little $39 tripod. Diane knows, she's been to a couple of them with me. But I show up with my $39 tripod, and I show up with I show up with the my little camera and so forth, and the platform's set up, and I go up there, and there's all these $35,000 cameras from CNN and ABC and all of them, and I've got this little camera set up, and they hate me. They won't even speak to me. All of the elites, they will get in a little circle and start talking. Now, I will say this. Diane, I forget the guy's name. You and I were walking out of the Kemp event, and the guy from CBS, and he was very nice. He was very nice. I enjoyed meeting him, but for the most part, so about 75 people are getting their information on the street. And I tell you what, I started out this week. I was watching TikTok. You know it. I know. I watch TikTok. So I was watching TikTok. Trump signed all these executive orders, right? And there were several Black Americans talking about Trump popping. So I looked it up. It's Black U.S. slang, it said. So Trump is just popping, man. And what's out on the street? Just saying. I don't know. I had to do it, Diane. Had to do it. So 7,500 have applied for White House press credentials that are not from the legacy media. So RFK yesterday, I told you, I went to an event. America voted for Donald Trump. Give me number 7. Make America healthy again. Make America healthy again. And it's important to the American people. So I'm going to give you a couple. We'll break down a couple. I was trying to find my favorite, because the pharmaceutical, many of you out there, you can go look it up. You put out the data out on X, on the street, you put out the data that how many of these, like, I think Elizabeth Warren, 5.4 million from the pharmaceutical industry. All of these people are pharmaceutical industry payoff. They get the payoff. This one just cracks me up. Video 4. This is Bennett. Is he a Colorado? Where's he a senator at? Anyhow, video 4, RFK.
You say that Lyme disease is highly likely a materially engineered bioweapon. I made sure I put in the highly likely. Did you say Lyme disease is a highly likely militarily engineered bioweapon?
I probably did say that.
Did you say that?
And that's what the developer of Lyme
I want
disease
all of our
said.
colleagues to hear it, Mr. Kennedy. I want them to hear it. You said yes. Did you say that exposure to pesticides causes children to become transgender?
No, I never said that.
Okay, I have the record that I'll give to the chairman, and he can make his judgment about what you said. Did you write in your book, and it's undeniable, that African AIDS is an entirely different disease from Western AIDS? Yes or no, Mr. Kennedy?
I'm not sure if I made that.
Okay, I'll give it to the chairman, Mr. Kennedy. And my final question, did you say on a podcast, and I quote, "I wouldn't leave abortion to the states. My belief is we should leave it to the woman. We shouldn't have the government involved, even if it's full term." Did you say that, Mr. Kennedy?
Senator, I believe that every abortion is a tragedy.
Did you say it, Mr. Kennedy? This matters. It doesn't matter what you come here and say that isn't true, that's not reflective of what you really believe, that you haven't said over decade after decade after decade, because unlike other jobs we're confirming around this place, this is a job where it is life and death.
This is a job where it's life and death, and we decide you must confirm you would be okay with killing babies. This is a job about life and death. But you know good and well Fauci just got a pardon because he trusted the science, or told you to trust the science, why he murdered your mom and your dad, why he was responsible, played a role in the death of millions of people. This is about life and death. When the CDC issued a statement saying that children should be wearing a mask in school, and now we have little kids 4, 5, and 6 years old that have speech problems, major speech problems, because visually hearing and watching the mouth, a 3-year-old child learns, 2 and 3 years old, by visually seeing the mouth, the movement, and hearing the sounds is how they learn to talk. Right? Speech therapists, go look it up with little children. This is about life and death. Did you say pesticides can make the kids transgender? Well, let me tell you something. Something sure as hell did. Something whacked these damn kids out. Anyhow, it's crazy. They're crazy. All right, here's one. Let's see. Bernie Sanders, the onesies. This is going right. He put up a baby wearing a onesie. Bernie Sanders, video 8.
Are you supportive of this?
I've had nothing to do with leadership.
Are you supportive of these onesies?
I'm supportive of vaccines.
Are you supportive of this clothing, which is militantly anti-vaccine?
We can't export our food. We can't export our food to many countries because they won't accept it. They won't accept our food. Give me video 10.
We can now not export American food to Europe because the Europeans won't take our food. That's not good for farmers. We're also destroying our soil because some of the chemicals that farmers use destroy the microbiome, and that causes the erosion of the soil. You can't get water infiltration. Water pools up and it washes the soil off. Agronomists now estimate that we only have, if we continue doing these processes, only 60 harvests left before our soil is gone. Farmers are using seeds and chemicals that are, over the long term, are costing them and us. And what we need to do is we need to support the farmers. We need the farmers as partners if we're going to make them work. And I don't want a single farmer to go out of business under our watch. I don't regulate farms. If I'm privileged to be confirmed, I'm not regulating farms. That's under USDA. But I want to partner with all of my decisions with USDA and with the farm community to make sure that we don't lose more farmers in this country, but that we also transition. We offer and incentivize transitions to regenerative agriculture, to no-till agriculture, and to less chemically intensive. And by the way, I've also met with the chemical industry and the fertilizer and herbicide companies, and they want to do the same thing. And I think we're on the trajectory to do that, and we need to incentivize initiatives to accelerate that trajectory.
I'm telling you right now, I watched this yesterday. In fact, I went out. I'll tell you a little bit. I went out yesterday. I know you know this if you're regular viewers. I told you my mom is visiting. We had a great time. We went out yesterday. Really had a great day. So in the afternoon when we returned home, I had to go outside. It was warm enough for a cheap cigar. Don't try that at home, kids. Please don't. I don't advocate that, but I went outside and I watched this until late into the night. Give me one more. Now, I want to appreciate, I always like to say thank you. I like to say thank you to, I like to say thank you to the viewers that keep my feet to the ground. Hold on a minute. I had it here. Callie, and Casey Means. Callie and Casey Means. Still to this day, go to Tucker Carlson and watch the interview with Callie and Casey Means. That is the backbone of what RFK stands for. Let's go with chronic disease. No, I don't want to go with that one. Let's see. Is that the one? Oh, how about what's her name? She said, this is Elizabeth Warren, video 1.
You said that President Trump asked you to, quote, clean up corruption and conflicts. Sounds great. You've said that you will, quote, slam shut the revolving door between government agencies and the companies they regulate. That also sounds great. So here's an easy question. Will you commit that when you leave this job, you will not accept compensation from a drug company, a medical device company, a hospital system, or a health insurer for at least 4 years, including as a lobbyist or a board member?
Can you just repeat the last part of the question? Can I commit
You're
to
not going to take money from drug companies in any way, shape, or form.
Who? Me?
Yes, you.
Oh. Yeah, I'm happy to commit to that.
Okay, good. That's what I figured. I said it's an easy question to start with. And I think you're right on this question.
I don't think any of them want to give me money, by the way.
Let's keep going.
Pharmaceutical companies don't want to give him money. She put him on the spot. No, I'm not taking it. I don't think they want to give me any money. Now, one more from Elizabeth Warren. You do know he could bankrupt the vaccine manufacturers, video 5. I absolutely love this one, video 5.
More profitable. In fact, he may have the opportunity to bankrupt the vaccine manufacturers, and then nobody gets vaccines.
Really? He may have the opportunity to, this is someone I think took $5.2 million from the pharmaceutical industry. He may have the opportunity to bankrupt the vaccine companies, and then no one gets a vaccine. So I will get some things out today for tomorrow, Friday's show. But I have the milk box. If you didn't see it yesterday, I'll show it to you tomorrow. I have the milk box. And my mother has all these things in the milk box. So I was going through there and I find this. And this is the grade school. We'll just call it 1969. Don't read into anything. Don't try to do the math. All right. We'll call it 1969. This is to Brian Pritchard, 16 Highland Avenue, Hackettstown, New Jersey, Diamond Hill. Which you know, I've told you that's where I grew up, Hackettstown, New Jersey. Dear Brian, I can hardly believe it. You are going to be old enough to come to kindergarten when school opens next September. But first you must be registered. Tell mother to bring you to Mansfield Township School on Wednesday morning, April, the date's not in there, between 9 and 11, bringing your birth certificate, your records of vaccination, DPT as a baby shots, polio shots, and measles shots. The doctor will be here to examine you, and you will be weighed and measured. If you have not had your immunizations, come for registration anyway. You can get the shots anytime before school starts. So this is when I was invited to come register for school, and there was not. Now, I don't know when the good Lord has plans for me to check out, okay? I don't. You don't know his plans for you. I don't know when I'm checking out, okay? Only the good Lord knows. But I'll have to tell you this. They give babies at birth a hepatitis vaccine shot at birth. And I've yet to figure out why. And if you look at the list of shots they want your children to have now, I mean, they want your children to have this enormous list of shots under the guise that we've advanced so far in science and medical research that we want your children to have these shots. You got a couple shots and you went to school. I'm still here. Something's wrong. If you say you have a concern that the vaccines, something in those vaccines, something in pesticides, something in our food, something is happening where children, autism, kids, things are different today. I would love to hear just one person on that panel say, you know what? We need to put the brakes on and we need to find out what's wrong and restore the health for our children. Give me this video here. Give me chronic disease, Kennedy video 7.
Trump. So it doesn't matter that you're before us. It could be anybody coming before us as long as they're a rubber stamp for this administration and disregarding your beliefs and what you think. I guess my question to you is, if it really is fundamental to what you believe, how do you live with that? How do you address those issues as you're moving forward, knowing that it's going to harm Americans? Yeah.
You want me to answer the question?
No, I'm asking you.
Okay. President Trump has asked me to end the chronic disease epidemic and make America healthy again. And I'm
so is that the only reason why you're at HHS? Is that the only reason why then you're at the HHS, to address that one issue?
President Trump has asked me because I'm in a unique position to end that. And that is what I'm doing. And if we don't solve that problem, Senator, all of the other disputes we have about who's paying, and whether it's insurance companies, whether it's providers, whether it's HMOs, whether it's patients or families, all of those are moving deck chairs around on the Titanic. Our ship is sinking. Our 60% increase in Medicaid over the past 4 years is the biggest budget line now, and it's growing faster than any other. And no other nation in the world has what we have here. No other nation has a chronic disease. We have the highest chronic disease burden of any country in the world. We had, during COVID, we had 16% of the COVID deaths in a country. We only have 4.2% of the world's population. We had a higher death count than any country in the world. And when CDC was asked why, they said it's because Americans are the sickest people on earth. The average person who died from COVID, American, had 3.8 chronic diseases. This is an existential threat economically, to our military, to our health, to our sense of well-being. And it is a priority for President Trump. And that's why he asked me to run the agency. And if I'm privileged to be confirmed, that's exactly what I'll do.
You know what? If confirmed, that's exactly what I'll do. Remember COVID, if all the risk factors, obesity, diabetes, all the things that added on to the risk factor in COVID. It's like he said, if we do not correct this, everything else is a moot point. It's all about the money, trillions and trillions of dollars of money. The NGOs for the illegals, we're paying for the invasion to come into this country. It's all about the money. They have been stealing trillions of dollars, and it needs to stop. We'll take a break. When we come back, before we go to break, Diane, I had one more picture here. I want to do this before I come back for the Georgia Hour. And I promise I'm going to next week. I know Diane's laughing if I could see her. Next week, I'm going to get the show focused to where at 10 o'clock, the Georgia Hour comes on like it's supposed to, and I do the segments. And quit laughing, Diane. Give me number 39. So yesterday, Sam Altman to reveal new tech to DC power players. OpenAI's Sam Altman is making the rounds in DC on Thursday today in an attempt to show unity with President Trump and announce the new initiative to make sure the government has the most capable AI. Things are moving at a rapid speed. So yes, yesterday I went to a orthopedic surgeon. I had an appointment. Both of my shoulders, bursitis, bone spurs, just showed me the x-rays. So I really like this doctor. I really do. He's a specialist. And, the guy looked at me and he said, the last thing we do is cut on a shoulder. We don't cut on a shoulder. And I like that. I don't like the let's rush to do some kind of surgery. So he showed me some things for my right shoulder. He showed me some stuff on my left shoulder with the x-rays. What he could do in the future if things don't change. But right now, 2 cortisone shots, one in each shoulder yesterday. Got a cortisone shot in each shoulder. Got to go to physical therapy starting the beginning of the week. And in 2 weeks, if that does not, I have 6 weeks. Within 6 weeks, if that does not get things straightened out for me, I got to go back. We got to look at another plan. So I appreciate it. I want to tell you because I know you guys, you have me on your prayer list, and I do appreciate that, and I get the messages. So until further notice. So the cortisone shots yesterday. And all right, we're going to come back. We're going to continue to talk about RFK, but we're going to move it over a little bit to Georgia, and that's why I saved it for the Georgia Hour. We'll be back right after these messages.
Kicking off the new year in a big way at Days Chevrolet Jasper with 2.9% financing on the all-new 2025 Chevy Equinox, plus $1,500 in Days discounts and no payments for 90 days. So keep that New Year's resolution and take home the all-new 2025 Equinox from Days Chevrolet Jasper. Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done. Together, let's drive.
Body Shop in Ellijay. Family owned and operated since 1978. The latest in cutting edge digital technology and state-of-the-art equipment allow our iCard Gold Class certified technicians to restore your vehicle. Our second-to-none customer service will work directly with your insurance company. Major accident or minor fender bender, we take the dents out of accidents. Larry's Body Shop, North Georgia's #1 body shop. Visit us at collisiondecision.com.
Why give your money to liberal media companies? Put your marketing needs in the hands of a conservative marketing professional and start getting results today. FYN Media Group, one of the top digital marketing agencies in Georgia, specializes in website design and hosting, social media promotion and management, and so much more. Visit FYNmediagroup.com or call 706-889-3564 for a free consultation.
Ladies, when you wear elegant jewelry, you become a force to be reckoned with. You shine brighter than the stars in the sky, and your inner beauty radiates like the sun. So embrace the magic, embrace the elegance, and let your jewelry be a reflection of your true, authentic self. My friends over at North Georgia Diamond know what a woman wants. Go see them for the perfect gift. And remember, when it comes to elegance, there's no such thing as too much. Come see us at North Georgia Diamond. We're igniting passion one sparkle at a time.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
This is a special report.
Knowing how to invest your money is harder than ever before. Dealing with stock market volatility, record debt, and terrorist attacks requires new thinking. At U.S. Asset Management, we can help you see the world more clearly so that you can move beyond the chaos and invest with confidence. Call us, visit us online, or drop by our office. U.S. Asset Management, helping you make better decisions with your money.
Mesquite Grill, now offering online ordering for your convenience. Check out our new website at mesquitegrillbr.com. That's mesquitegrillbr.com. The great food and service you have come to expect, ready for you when you arrive. Open 7 days a week with a fully stocked bar and friendly service. Bring your furry friends with you and dine on our pet-friendly patio. Also, check out our catering options and let us prepare delicious food for your next event.
All right, folks, welcome back. Thank you for joining us for the Georgia Hour. The Georgia Hour with BKP Monday through Friday at 10 to 11 o'clock. Running a little behind. Okay, voiceofruralamerica.com. My commitment next week to get my time at 10 o'clock. So people are saying, I thought it was the Georgia hour, not the Georgia 52-minute, not the Georgia 51-minute, 48-minute, but that's the way it goes. So as we're talking about Georgia, I now want to move in, and I saved this one part because this does pertain to Georgia. We have a U.S. Senate seat coming up here for election, John Ossoff. And John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock did vote for the Laken Riley Act. Now we need to put pressure on Raphael Warnock. Now, if you're out there and you say, well, it will do no good, here's two recommendations I make. I recommend you call John Ossoff, Senator John Ossoff's office, and ask him to tell Raphael Warnock to vote for RFK and all of Trump's nominees, but right now RFK. Because he's on the committee. He's on the committee. Now, yesterday, this is Raphael Warnock, Greg Bluestein, number 40, the AJC. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. denied comparing the CDC to Nazi death camps during a hearing Wednesday on Capitol Hill, but Georgia U.S. Raphael Warnock has the receipts. Well, I don't care where the CDC is located. I don't care how many people they employ. They need cleaned out. Totally cleaned out. And whatever RFK may have said about the CDC, I don't care. This guy said that's the reason I can't vote for him. Give me number 38, AJC, Georgia Senator Warnock to vote against Kennedy after tense exchange over Nazi comments. Tense exchange over Nazi comments. Give me video 17, Diane.
I need to know, do you stand by those statements that you made in the past, or do you retract those previous statements?
Senator, I don't believe that I ever compared the CDC to Nazi death camps. I support the CDC. My job is not to dismantle or harm the CDC. My job is to empower the scientists if I'm privileged to be confirmed.
So you retract those statements?
I'm not retracting it. I never said it.
Well, actually, I have a transcript
of me saying that it's a Nazi death camp.
Let me read your words. It says that the institution CDC and the vaccine program, is your description of their work, is more important than the children that it's supposed to protect. And it's the same reason we had a pedophile scandal in the Catholic Church. It's because people were able to convince themselves that the institution of the church was more important than these little boys and girls who were being raped. That's pretty provocative language. You said in another statement to me, this is like Nazi death camp. I mean, let me finish. I'm just reading your words. I mean, what happened to these kids? 1 in 31 boys in this country, their minds are being robbed from them.
Yeah, I was not comparing the CDC to Nazi death camps. I was comparing the injury rate to our children to other atrocities. And I wouldn't compare, of course, the CDC to Nazi death camps to the extent that any statement that I made has been interpreted that way. Yeah, I don't agree with that.
All right, so give me number 23. This is Raphael Warnock. All right. Now, he calls himself Reverend. I'm voting no on Mr. Kennedy's nomination to lead HHS. He wouldn't commit to working to prevent health care premium spikes and didn't denounce his conspiracy theories about the CDC, which employs thousands of Georgians. I won't support a nominee whose policies hunt Georgians. Children are okay. You need to understand, children are okay. That's right. Pedophiles, atrocities, that's okay. These people are absolutely, and give me number 22. Senator Raphael Warnock, Georgians can't afford their health care costs to increase by hundreds of dollars a month. And where have you been? Mr. Kennedy is more interested in chasing conspiracy theories than chasing solutions. And I can't vote for a nominee who isn't going to lower cost for Georgians. If you're around the country, but if you're in Georgia, this is still your senator, whether you like it or not. One, Ossoff is up in 2026. So you need to flood John Ossoff's office with phone calls telling him to tell Warnock to vote for RFK and then flood his office. You have to put pressure on Ossoff every day. John Ossoff has to have the pressure on him every day, no matter what it is, even if it pertains to Warnock. Because Ossoff is the one that's walking the tightrope for 2026 reelection. So for all those times you think, well, that's a Democrat senator, and he won't listen to me, John Ossoff, he just might pay attention a little more than he has in the past. So that's who you need to put pressure on. So the Laken Riley Act that was signed yesterday, and I did not want to mix the story in the opening, but we will go there now. So I've told you this in Georgia, the Georgia GOP Inc. We have to, number 20, we have to Brian Kemp and his wife do not like Donald Trump. I don't know exactly what happened down in Valdosta where they shook hands, but he does not like Donald Trump. Now, yesterday, Buddy Carter in the red tie, a lot of rumors he may be running for Senate. Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones is running for governor. Brian Jack is now the 3rd District Congressman. Andrew Clyde in the red tie. John Burns, Georgia Speaker of the House, must resign. Now, where is Brian Kemp yesterday? Brian Kemp should have stopped everything. Brian and Marty. The Laken Riley Act. Brian Kemp's from Athens. That's where he's from. That's where Brian and Marty live, is in Athens, Georgia, where the young lady got murdered. That's where he's from. That's where he lives. The man's the governor of the state where the young lady was killed by an illegal. The man should have been in that picture. The man should have been there. President Trump should, I don't know, was he? President Trump should have, okay, looked out in the audience and said, it's great to have the governor here with us today to share in the signing of the Lincoln Riley Act, the murder of this young lady in Georgia. Where's he at? Brian Kemp is a bad guy, a really bad guy. So is Marty Kemp. Ask Josh McCoon what he thinks. Now, I will say this, a little side note. The Godzilla of bullshit has made it back into Georgia. He's brought his bullshit bus, and he's back in Georgia, and the Godzilla of bullshit is back trying to spin his weave. We'll get into that. I know what you're thinking. I thought you guys buried the hatchet. We did for the 2024 election. But as soon as he crossed the Georgia state line, and he's going to start pulling all his stunts again, and he's going to start getting involved with the grifters. I mean, the guy is a medicine man selling medicine off the back of a wagon from town to town. All right, so anyhow, where was he at yesterday? He wasn't here. Wasn't there. Lincoln Riley Act. John Burns. Now, I want John Burns to resign, not just because of Colton Moore. I agree. In fact, I'm very thankful that Colton Moore took the attack. I'm very thankful that Colton Moore, the state senator, stood up and took that attack that day. Because now we have a lot of people paying attention. And John Burns, all right, I have told you how legislation works. The guy at the end, John Burns, your state representative, and they're going to get mad at me. They're going to tell you, if you say this to your state representative, they're going to say, Brian is just out there. He'll just say anything. Your state representatives are not allowed to have an independent thought. They're not. Your state representatives are not allowed to vote no unless it's in a district where they have to run cover, and John Burns can trade a couple Democrat votes for your vote, so that way you run cover. Every single piece of legislation that goes on the House floor in Georgia gets approved by John Burns, or it doesn't go on the House floor. And then you're instructed how. I had a state representative tell me one time when they voted no on something, they had a couple very bad weeks. I said, what? That's all I could tell you. I had a couple very bad weeks after that. Oh, yeah. Retaliation. Now, I want to move on to something in, but John Burns, don't forget, number 43, Georgia Speaker of the House, he invited a man dressed as a woman to stand in the chamber and pray at the Georgia State House floor with your representatives in attendance. That's a man. John Burns invited this person on the floor of the Georgia State House. John Burns must go. And we need to get word to President Trump he must go. Now, I want to bring up a subject. I don't know if I'm going to be staying all the way to 11, Diane, so you can get ready. I don't know if I'm going to be staying all the way to 11. Number 17. And this is a little different take. All right. Now, if I would like to ask, here's what I want to ask. Because we're in the third week of the Georgia legislative session. All right. Here's my question to you. Has the Georgia GOP Election Integrity Task Force held a meeting? Have they? Does the Georgia GOP Inc. Election Integrity Task Force, chaired by Brad Carver, have you had a meeting since the 2024 election in November? We're 3 weeks into the Georgia legislative session. Do you have a plan? Do you have committees? What have you presented thus far? I want to know. Want to know today. Can you get word to me if they've had a meeting? If the Georgia, one more time, state GOP Election Integrity Task Force. Because if you believe that everything is solved, everything is okay, right? If you believe that our data is in the clouds, if you believe that they should still pay $500 to get the voter registration files from the Secretary of State, if you believe the voter registration files are accurate, they want you to believe everything's okay. They're going to come out, my opinion, the Georgia Secretary of State's going to come out and say, we're going to do the patch. We're going to do the patch. We're going to update the machines. And wow, what an awesome election. And we must not forget, Georgia, on the machines where we vote, the election system that we have, every single thing, the voter registration, all the above is what was in place when they stole 2020 in Georgia. So everything's not okay. That's a fact. Now, one of the major things, and that's why I brought this up, one of the major things, and I'm not hearing this, I would like to talk to some people. Now, last year, the State Board of Elections, right, they were supposed to separate from the Secretary of State's office. So what we did is we had the Board of Elections, State Board of Elections was totally under the Georgia Secretary of State's office, Brad Raffensperger. Totally under there. All right. Then we had Brad Raffensperger was the chair of the Board of Elections. So we did pass legislation that changed the board makeup. We did pass legislation that removed Brad Raffensperger, the Secretary of State, as the chair. Okay, we did pass legislation to give the Board of Elections a budget to operate on their own, hire a director, executive director, and their own investigator. So we made some strides in the right direction, but the Board of Elections is still under the umbrella of the Secretary of State's office. Now, that I'm aware of, the Board of Elections does not completely have their own line item budget. Last year, there was a lot of talk that Brian Kemp didn't fund the Board of Elections. But that wasn't true. The Board of Elections was receiving monthly payments, but Brian Kemp felt that some of the budget was redundant. Now, in everything in the state, the governor can feel that some payments are redundant, meaning you can get that somewhere else. So there were some payments that didn't go to the Board of Elections, but it's not that they were withholding the money. It was deemed redundant, and that the Secretary of State's office already was getting money for the same thing. So there was a little confusion on that. But the State Board of Elections, I mean, look, I have to tell you, I get some heat. Because the storm chasers, and I like some of these people, but they're storm chasers. And then I go on there and I see the grifters whooping some people up in a frenzy, all right? And I see the lady that wears the heavy red lipstick whipping people up in a frenzy. And I see people putting all these posts up. But I never actually see a solution, and I really never see us put together what we need to be doing instead of just throwing a rock at a legislator. I never see the plan. Now, let me get to this for a reason. If you're out there today, you need to get with me or get with others. And what we need to do is we need to totally complete the separation of the Board of Elections from the Secretary of State's office. Needs to be completely removed. If you're not paying attention, all right, the Secretary of State's office would not let them have their own website. Can't have it. The Secretary of State's office, you can't find very little on the Board of Elections, and you have to go through the Secretary of State's website. 1. 2, Secretary of State did not give them a website to separate themselves. I mean, they should have their own website. They should have their own way for you to go straight to their website, make a complaint about something in elections, write them directly, contact all the members directly, but they don't. They should have their own budget with legal counsel. So every time the Board of Elections is at odds with the state board, the Secretary of State's office, every time the Board of Elections is at odds with the Secretary of State's office, they don't have their own legal counsel. They do not have their own legal counsel. The legal counsel for the Secretary of State doubles as their legal counsel. And what do you do when they're at odds? So 1, they should have their own website. 2, they should be totally separate with their own line item in the state budget. 3, they should have their own investigators. They should have their own email addresses, and they don't. They don't have their own email addresses. Right now, groups are suing the people personally on the board, like Dr. Jan Johnston and Janelle King, to get their Gmail accounts. They can't operate and discuss anything on the State Board of Elections because they don't have a state email address where they can discuss the business, and that's open and subject to open records. They don't have it. They have to separate that. They have to get their own legal counsel. We have to remove the chairman, John Favreiri or whatever, Waffle House King, the guy Brian Kemp put on there. he must be removed immediately. He's a bad person. So I put this up for a reason, because I don't see this getting the traction. And this was yesterday. I don't see this getting the traction that it should be. This is Dr. Jan Johnston on the State Board of Elections in Georgia. Unbelievable, outrageous. I arrived at a meeting in the Secretary of State's office last Friday and found an AJC reporter and Deputy Secretary of State Jordan Fuchs sitting at the door to the meeting room. She had a meeting with Brad Raffensperger, the Secretary of State. Reporter Mark Nisi, I arrived at a meeting at the Secretary of State's office. Reporter Mark Nisi with the AJC, according to his own account, he was invited by someone from the Secretary of State's office to witness the 1-hour meeting just in case it became contentious so he could report the news. Jordan Fuchs and Mark Nisi were non-participants in the meeting, but remained just outside the meeting room the entire time, listening and watching. Unbecoming and inappropriate, in my opinion. I wonder if someone was secretly recording the meeting, as has been done by the SOS office in the past. They're not on our side. These are supposed to be Republicans over in the Secretary of State's office. This is supposed to be the person that the Republican Party appointed, Dr. Jan Johnston. Dr. Jan Johnston. Sorry about that, double J's. Dr. Jan Johnston, the GOP appointment to the State Board of Elections. You go over to the Secretary of State's office, they're supposed to be Republicans. So I'm just telling you right now, they're trying to end MAGA. I told you that yesterday in Georgia. And if you think our elections went so well, Donald Trump won, and you're still cheering, okay? You're still cheering, and you see the grifters, and you know who they are, and you're not zeroed in. The Georgia legislative session is going on right now. You understand that? This is when we have to get this done. This is when we have to make strides to totally separate the Board of Elections. We have to get all these things cleaned up now, and I don't see anybody on the street, as they say, talking about it. But take this right here. Follow that tweet. The AJC was right there ready to go to report after this meeting. We have to get our election straightened out. We have to stop electronic machines from handling our elections. We have to stop the Secretary of State from running the state election board. But I'll go back one more time before I close and ask you, has the Georgia GOP Election Integrity Task Force, have they had a meeting? And have they had a meeting with lawmakers concerning changes that we didn't get done and we want done as far as MAGA is concerned? Maybe we can tell Charlie Kirk to tell the Georgia GOP chair, Josh McCoon. All right, so briefly as I close, all right, number 44, I may make comments on this on a daily basis. Georgia Republican Party key convention dates. Don't forget. It's the state election board. You went to those last 3 meetings, 100 of you, if not more. Don't forget. It's the state election board where Fulton County, the Joe Rossi, Kevin Moncla case, we'll call it, with Garland Favorito, voter GA, and all of the evidence got swept under the rug. Don't forget. That's where it did. Don't forget. The Georgia Board of Elections said, we don't want you, the Secretary of State, to have the power to put the election supervisor, Ryan Germany, in Fulton County. But they did. Fulton County hired him. Secretary of State's office approved it. And they didn't give a rat's you-know-what about the state election board. And Ryan Germany gave him a clean bill of health over there at Fulton County. While everything is just perfect over there. This will be the same Fulton County that probably participated the most in stealing 2020, but between Ryan Germany and Fulton County and the state Secretary of State's office, cleaned it all up without any involvement from the state election board. The backroom deal, remember that? The backroom deal. You going to let that go? You going to let go that you people went by the hundreds? Do you remember the state election board meeting that had 55 people signed up to speak? I watched the whole thing sitting right here. 55 people. You remember the state election board meeting that had Ed Lindsay resign? But that was a stunt, right? That was a stunt. You remember the next one for the rules? You had over 100 people in the room, and the next one for the rules, and you passed all these rules, and they got thrown out, were never implemented. The Secretary of State went after you. Your own chairman of the state election board went after you. Remember that? Because I'm just going to ask you, how much money do you have? Because a lot of you live 4 and 5 hours from the state capitol. And a lot of you take the day off work. God bless you. I love you. But a lot of you take the day off work. A lot of you drive down there and you got 100 people. And a lot of you make signs. You get the magic markers out and you make signs. Right now, right this minute, week 3 of the Georgia state legislation, legislators are in session. We've got to separate the Board of Elections. So I'm going to get some more detail on that. Number 44. It's already on the screen. Don't forget, they are going to try to take over the party. There is MAGA 1. They're okay with MAGA being one and done. If you think that MAGA lives on post Donald Trump, and they're convinced, when I say they are the establishment, look at Brian Kemp's actions. The head Republican in the state of Georgia, look at his actions. Has he said, go MAGA, go? If Brian Kemp's not out and Marty Kemp's not out saying, go MAGA, go, you think that the Georgia GOP is going to run into 2026 saying, go MAGA, go? Really? Nah, not going to happen. They plan to take over the county. They plan to take over the districts, and they plan to take over the state convention. That's right. If you are not challenging a Rhino County chair and all over the county trying to get everybody you can into the convention to vote, if you are not challenging a Rhino candidate for district, if your chair or district chair or anyone out there is running under the guise of MAGA, but they're self-promoters, like Sally Grubbs in Cobb County. Sally Grubbs is a self-promoter. It's all about the next spot in her career. Look at the narcissist in DeKalb County, the narcissist. It's how many times she could put her hand on her hip and take a picture with somebody and put it out there and write chairman of DeKalb County, the narcissist. Look at Debbie Doulis. Debbie Doulis. She gets mad. I don't know where she gets her money from. I don't know. Coming in from somewhere. What do they solve? All right, so I gotta get out. Number 42. Rumor is the 11th district congressman. All right. Barry Loudermilk. Rumor, because it's politics, folks. Rumor is he will not be seeking re-election in the 11th district. Rumor is he's waiting for Doug Burgum to be sworn in as Interior Secretary, and he wants to be Assistant Interior Secretary or something like that. That's what we hear. That's what we hear. All right. So this is our Rhino poster child, number 46. This is the Georgia Rhino poster child right here. If you don't get out there in your counties, in your district, and on the state level and get to work, your GOP could look like this, Stephen Aaron, the Rhino poster child, that if he was honest, I'm just going to guess he voted for Nikki Haley. Just going to guess he did. All right, Diane, take that down. Put up your truth in education. Can you do me a favor? Get the address on there where I could see it so I could put it up there tomorrow. I just want people, I really want to highlight this. I noticed it the other day. Usually, we're a business. Usually we're a business and we don't tend to highlight events. But I have for years, Rhonda Thomas, I have highlighted Truth in Education for years. February 15th at 9 a.m. This is Gilmer County, the American Legion. You would be amazed and shocked to hear everything going on. Great information. Diane, am I leaving anything out? If I'm not leaving, because I got, I don't know what else I got to do today. I got to go through the milk box. I'm going to go through the milk box. Let's see if I got something here. I had something the other day. You see this right here? I got this out. The Ripon Forum. This is January and February edition, 1995. Pickup Man. How Fred Thompson drove the Democrats out of Tennessee. Take that down, Diane. Can you see this? That's Fred Thompson. You guys remember Fred Thompson? It's in the milk box. I got it here. It says, how Fred Thompson drove the Democrats out of Tennessee. That's right. This is a magazine. Let's see what's all in here for this month. Let's see. Making welfare work. Let's see. On the record. Specter over the right. About Arlen Specter. But this month's edition, how Fred Thompson drove the Democrats out of Tennessee. That came out of the milk box. I got to go through everything in the milk box, okay? Now, I showed you yesterday, Diane, I got my hat, and it says January 20th, 2025 inauguration. Got it? If you have anything out there in Georgia, anything in Georgia going on that I need to be aware of, please don't hesitate. 706-889-9700. 706-889-9700. You can text me. You can email. You can email Diane. Get it to us if something's going on that we need to be aware of. Also, if you'd like to help, we got legislation that needs, we need somebody reading down in Atlanta, or we need you scouring the Georgia landscape or anywhere really, but picking up stories, letting us know about it. We can't get to all of them, but we need your help. We appreciate that. And if you don't have, tomorrow, Diane, could you get me a list of every single place that we're streaming? I'll give you till tomorrow. But if you want to look at the segments and you want to send segments to your friends, people ask me all the time, you can go to Rumble, Voice of Rural America, Rumble channel, get the segments off there. We break them up every 30 minutes. All right, folks, I'm out. Tomorrow's Friday, Diane.
Yeah, I'm going to chime in here. I'm not going to have my playlist today because I'm not feeling well.
Okay. All right. Boy, you just broke the heart of millions. But no, if you don't. All right, so folks, there you go. I'm glad you. I hope you feel better, Diane. I know it's. Hey, look, folks, it's 5 degrees one week. It snows 12 inches the week before. It rains 3 days, and then it's 60 degrees. And you wonder why somebody's not feeling well.
Yeah, and explain why there's still snow on the ground. I don't know what that is all about.
All right, Diane, I hope you feel better. There'll be no Diane's playlist today. We know you look forward to that every day. And we put Diane on your prayer list that she feels better today. And I'm in the market for that full night's sleep. I'm in the market for that right there. So we'll go with that. Diane, thank you. I appreciate it. Great show. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m.